Welcome back to another episode of Arena Side of Press Pass, powered by X1 Media. I'm your host, Anthony Carter. Thank you always for supporting this show and X1 Media. In case you haven't already, like and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Also, we're available on all podcast platforms. That includes Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're also on Audible as well. So if you subscribe to us on those platforms, new episodes will download directly to your device. So again, appreciate everyone for the support over the last really 10 weeks or so. The AFL regular season is over after this week. So we're going to go right into playoffs after week 10. Now, a lot has changed from week 9 going into week 10. So there's only one game this weekend. But first, before we go into that, let's look at the week 9 scores really quickly. First, you had the Orlando Predators beating the Wichita Regulators 63-18. The Washington Wolfpack beat the Southwest Kansas Storm 47-46. Of course, the Salina Liberty had the 2-0 forfeit win over the now defunct West Texas Desert Hawks, and the Billings Outlaws beat the Albany Firebirds 36-35, and that was a crazy finish to the game. The Outlaws scored 12 points in 9 seconds. Let's quickly look back at that game. So the Firebirds, they committed multiple defensive penalties on the final drive, really within the last minute of the game, including a potential game-sealing interception that was called off. The Firebirds did have a lot to say about the officiating. We're not really going to get into that, what the Firebirds said, the head coaching staff, and the general manager, what they said about that. So we're not going to get into that. But Outlaws quarterback Isaac Harker, he threw a touchdown pass to wide receiver and defensive back Dwayne Brown. Then the offense, they converted a 4-point conversion, so they were able to cut the lead to 35-34. Then on the ensuing kickoff, kicker Bailey Giffen kicked through the uprights for a deuce. Here's the call.
Split the uprights from the goal line. Here it is. The kick is up. It's sailing. It's good! He did it! And the Outlaws have pulled off an unbelievable comeback.
Owner of the Outlaws, Stephen Titus, said, quote, "I've been to hundreds of football games in my life, and I've never had the adrenaline rush that I did in the last minute of that game. Everything that the guys have worked so hard to do to prepare for this game was executed perfectly." Titus goes on to say, quote, "All of our players and coaching staff led by Cedric Walker did an amazing job. They proved all the naysayers and in arena and indoor football that the Outlaws are for real and have a sole quest to win Arena Bowl 33. Now, that was a crucial win for the Outlaws because it gave them the top seed in the Arena Football League playoffs. Now, the Arena Football League, they announced that there will be a new television deal. Now, they haven't announced what television network that is officially, but because of that deal, they expanded the playoffs from 5 teams to 6 teams, though that allowed the 6 seed Nashville Cats to be in the postseason. Now, that news was announced live on the Orlando Predators show, The Breakdown Live. The owner of the Predators, he said, "We'll be on TV twice, on July 6th for the first round, twice again for the next round, and then the Arena Bowl." That was later confirmed this week. The Arena Football League announced those playoff matchups and the location for the Arena Bowl. So let's quickly look at those postseason matchups. So again, the Billings Outlaws and the Albany Firebirds, they will finish 1 and 2. As the top seeds, they will have a first round bye. Now, in the first round, it'll begin on July 5th with the number 4 seed Orlando Predators hosting the number 6 seed Nashville Cats. That game will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on July 6th, the number 3 seed Salina Liberty will host the number 5 seed Southwest Kansas Storm at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, the winners of those games will travel either to the Outlaws or the Firebirds, depending on where they finished in those games. Now, the Arena Football League has picked New Jersey as its site for the upcoming Arena Bowl 33. Now, the game, according to a league release, on Thursday, June 27th, the championships will be held at American Dream Entertainment and Retail Center, and that's in East Rutherford, New Jersey on July 19th. Now, that'll be part of a 3-day series of events. So that'll begin on July 18th and ending on July 20th. American Dream, it's actually a large mall. It's the second largest mall in the United States. It's a venue for retail, dining, attractions, and entertainment, but they are also branching into the sports world. They had some hockey events, and it looked like they had some wrestling events back in the day. Harlem Globetrotters also just announced a residency there later this summer. So now the Arena Football League is just expanding. I guess they're going to be part of that expansion for American Dream. They did announce tickets. You can find that through the Arena Football League's website. We also have a link on our website, arenainsider.com. Now, again, that game will be held on July 19th, though. We'll see what happens within those games. You can check out those stories, and we also have some pictures of what American Dream, what it looks like, and what we could assume the venue will look like for that game. Now, I forgot to mention as I was breaking down the playoff matchups, all of the 6 playoff teams will be on a bye this weekend. There will only be one game, and that's the Wichita Regulators at the Washington Wolfpack. Both of those teams are out of playoff contention, so they will play this last game, and it will be the end of the regular season. And again, the playoffs will start next week. Now, before we wrap up this show, did want to mention, because since the last episode, we never broke down Zach Bugg, the former owner of the West Texas Desert Hawks, who have now ceased operations. And they ceased operations at an interesting time because they were actually in the mix. They likely would have made the playoffs. But of course, with them ceasing operations, it caused a shift in some of the standings and whichever. But Zach Bugg shared a lot of information about his departure, mostly regarding the previous regime of the Arena Football League. Here's a few clips from that.
False promises. False promises, without a doubt, from saying, hey, we're going to cover, $1,000 a week per player for payroll. You calculate that 21 players times 1,000, 21,000 a week times 10, $210,000 came off the top of our bottom line from false promises of the AFL. And this is to go to show that, it was a scam to begin with, and I honored that. I can honestly say here in West Texas, we honored that, and every player knows that that's ever signed with us.
Now, because the Desert Hawks were going to be in the mix for the playoffs, it's interesting that they ceased operations right before. Now, Bugg made note of that. He said he has some respect for some of the individuals of G6 Sports, but he didn't like that direction that G6 Sports was going when it came to putting their money into the playoffs and in the Arena Bowl. Here's what he had to say about that.
The ownership group of G6, I do have respect for certain individuals of G6 Sports. There are deals in place, with their media deals that they're paying money for. Also with the Arena Bowl, and they're paying money for this Arena Bowl instead of giving the money back to the owners that have suffered. All of us owners have suffered this entire time, but instead of giving those dollars back to us owners, they would rather put it in media deals to make themselves look good, and also an Arena Bowl to make them look good, so they can potentially have the AFL next year to save face. And honestly, I don't stand for that. It's not what I'm about. I'm about the owners, and all of us owners have suffered, and we deserve the best, and we haven't gotten the best. So financially, it just doesn't make sense anymore, and I'm not going to continue to make the AFL look good whenever they're not giving back in return. Instead, they're focused on signing deals to make themselves look good versus making the teams and the owners look good.
So a lot was said during that Facebook Live event, and you can read our full recap on our website, arenainsider.com. We have a lot of other stories from over the last couple of days that have happened across the Arena Football League. So go ahead and check those stories out. Also follow us on our social media pages as we get ready for the playoffs and the Arena Bowl. That's all the time that we have for this show. I'm Anthony Carter. Thank you always for supporting us, and we'll see you next time.